Welcome to everyone who is joining us now. I'm going to give everyone a few more minutes to continue to sign on, and we will get started shortly after 2. Thank you. Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and get things started, and people can continue to sign on as we go through the introductions. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us today for this webinar on supporting family caregivers of older Americans. So just a little bit about our center and who we are. We are based out of the University of Pittsburgh and funded by a grant from the Administration for Community Living and the National Institute on Disability, Independent Living, and Rehabilitation Research. Our mission is to partner with government, academia, and the family caregiver community to transform research into services and programs. Our goal is to improve the care, health, and quality of life of people with disabilities and the families that support them. We're very excited to be here today with you all to recognize and celebrate Older Americans Month, which is this month, with our webinar. During this webinar, you'll hear from representatives of 3 organizations who provide caregiver supports for caregivers of older Americans. A little bit about the logistics before we get started. This webinar is being recorded and we will send it out to everyone who registered, along with the slides that the presenters have prepared. Questions are welcome. You can type them in the chat or use the Q&A feature in Zoom, and you're also welcome to use the raise hand feature, and we're able to take you off of mute and ask your question. We will leave time at the end for Q&A, but feel free to type things into the chat as they pop up. So, with us today, we are joined by Jacqueline Musgrove, Diana Hardy, and Stephanie Small. I'm just going to do a short intro on each of them so you know who you'll be hearing from. Jacqueline Musgrove is with the Allegheny County Area Agency on Aging as the Caregiver Support Program Coordinator, where she has been for 2 years, though she's been with the Department of Human Services for 9 years. She is also a caregiver for her legally blind brother. Next, we'll hear from Diana Hardy, the Program Director of Caregiver Solutions at the Northern Area Multi-Service Center. Diana is a licensed professional counselor trained in various clinical modalities, a published author, and has over 18 years of practice working with children, adolescents, and adults. She also has experience in management, program development, and educator roles in nonprofit, healthcare, higher education, corporate, and government settings. She is the former director of the Hood Reef Center for Bereavement Support, where she developed and implemented caregiver and bereavement support programs for both professional and informal caregivers. She currently manages the team in addition to the programming and development for Caregiver Solutions at the Northern Area Multi-Service Center. And last but not least, we are joined by Stephanie Small, the Director of Clinical Services at JFCS. As the director, she's responsible for all programs in the counseling and senior services departments. In her work as a psychotherapist, she counsels older adults who need support for losses and adjustments one has later in life. One of her passions is the JFCS Caregiver Support Group, which she has been facilitating for 20 years. She is one of the coordinators of Age Well Pittsburgh, an award-winning long-term collaboration between JFCS, the JCC, and the JAA. She has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Barnard College in New York and a Master's of Social Work and certification in Gerontology from the University of Pittsburgh School of Social Work. So we are very honored to be joined by all of these amazing panelists today. And we will start by hearing from Jacqueline. So I am going to let her share her slides.
Thank you. Sorry, give me a second here.
Of course.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. All right, for some reason I can't share. Give me 1 second here.
It says you have permission.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason, okay. Hey, if we would not have technology issues, it would not be normal.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, well, when I share mine, you guys might end up seeing my presenter view, but we'll just go with it. I don't want to delay. Okay, so can everybody see mine? You guys are probably going to see my slides and my words. Can you see my words, Heather?
We can, yes.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason it won't let me share without showing. So I'm just going to go with it.
Sure.
I do apologize. But yeah, for some reason it wouldn't not let me do it. Let me just try one more thing. Look, I even tried this yesterday. And I don't know why I said it won't.
It always happens.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, well, hey, you guys will now see what I'm going to be saying anyway. Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. So like I said, good afternoon, and thank you for the introduction. So I just want to kind of reiterate, yes, my name is Jacqueline Musgrove. I am the Caregiver Support Program Coordinator for the Allegheny County Department of Human Services Area Agency on Aging. And I am going to shorten it throughout the slides. So we also are known as Allegheny County AAA. So today I will be discussing the Caregiver Support Program offered through AAA. And next slide. Okay. So I just want to go over the background. It's of CSP. That is another short term for the Caregiver Support Program. It started in 1990 in Pennsylvania, nationally in 2000. So the purpose of the CSP program was to reduce the burden and enable caregivers to continue providing at-home care as long as possible. It does target unpaid at-home caregivers such as spouses, adult children, other family and friends. Currently, right now, we are serving over 400 plus caregivers within Allegheny County. So the program eligibility is based on caregiver and care receiver's age, the care receiver's household size and income, deficiencies and activities of daily living, living arrangements, and relationship. So there are 3 enrollment programs. We have CSP State, CSP Federal, and CSP Grandparent / other older relative caregiver. So the program assists adults caring for a loved one 60 years of age and older with a functional impairment, individuals with Alzheimer's disease or chronic dementia, or 55 years of age and older caring for a relative who is either under 18 years of age or between 18 to 59 years of age and has a disability. So caregivers can be spouses, relatives, neighbors, or friends of the person needing care. So the Caregiver Support Program provides 5 categories of supportive services. So information, that's providing information to caregivers about available resources. Assistance, linking the caregivers to available services such as support groups. Caregiver training, assisting caregivers in making decisions and solving problems related to their caregiving roles, organizing support groups and arranging for caregiving training. Respite care, providing caregivers with a temporary break from their caregiving responsibilities, and supplemental services, providing on a limited basis items or services designed to help complement the care provided by caregivers. Next slide. And I do apologize, I did forget to say, for anybody that's visually impaired, I am an African-American female. I have curly short hair, and I'm wearing a black and white dress. And the first 5 slides basically are various people representing caregivers. All right, so caregiving isn't isolated to serving older adults. Caregiving covers the lifespan. So a caregiver could be the person primarily responsible for the provision of care, including coordination of services needed to maintain the physical and or mental health of the care receiver. A caregiver, as far as the Caregiver Support Program, may not receive financial gain for personally providing caregiving services and shall be actively involved with various aspects of care on a regular basis. So paid caregiver is prohibited from enrollment in CSP. So care receivers must be a resident of Allegheny County. Caregivers should be a Pennsylvania resident or at least meet out of the state guidelines. US citizenship is not required. So from grandparents raising grandchildren when parents aren't available, to taking care of a spouse with the mental health issues or a relative with a chronic condition or disability. So just ask yourself, are you a caregiver? All right, so I just want to go over as far as expanding the eligibility criteria that CSP has done over a few years. They now do allow the grandparent or other relative age 55 plus raising grandchildren or caring for an adult age 18 and 59 with a disability. And then also you can have multiple care receivers. So in that case, as an example, I could be taking care of my granddaughter and then also have, my father as a care receiver also. So older relatives, caregivers raising children or caring for an adult with a disability. So disability refers to having at least one limitation in activities of daily living, language, learning, mobility, independent living, economic self-sufficiency, cognitive functioning, or emotional adjustment. So the care recipient must be a resident of Allegheny County. If you are a caregiver to a relative with a disability between the ages of 18 through 59 years old or grandparent caregiver, so the care recipient must reside in your home. All right, so this slide now shows a map. This is our care management agencies that we work with. So we work with Wesley Family Services, Lifespan, and Family Links. And I would like to just go over the financial in regards to the Caregiver Support Program. We do not collect asset information. So care receivers' household income is for eligibility. So eligibility is not based on caregiver's income unless living with the person they are caring for. And the caregiver does not need an income. So as far as household income is defined, it's the total gross income of all persons living in the care receiver's residence, except for a minor or a dependent student. But if that child or dependent does receive a SSI income, that will count as income. But the household income must be less than or equal to 380% of the federal poverty level. And we do collect tax forms from the prior year to annually for this program. And then also we do, since it is a reimbursement program, people do have to submit receipts and various items, and we do have it pretty much kind of simplified a little bit. We you could do mail, it could be faxed to us, it can be emailed or text. All right, so this slide basically shows different reimbursable services. I'm not going to go through them all, but I will just touch base on a couple of them. So as far as respite, it could be in the home, it could be in a facility, babysitting under the grandparent program, camp for babysitting. We have pest control. We also offer for personal reimbursement for personal care, and then PERS, which is the emergency response system. So Pennsylvania does recognize that caregiver stress can impact the physical, emotional, and financial health of caregivers. Access to respite services is encouraged, and financial reimbursement for caregiving related services and supplies are allowed. So participants that are enrolled in our program will receive a monthly reimbursement in the range of $200 to $500 per month for caregiving expenses and self-care, as well as up to $2,000 in a form of a lifetime home modification grant that could be used to adapt the home environment or obtain assistive devices for the person they are caring for. Now, this slide is basically similar to the one before that was services. This is reimbursable supplies. This is just a few, it's not all. So I will just go over a couple of those also. So incontinence supplies, 2 over-the-counter medications, any therapeutic creams or ointments, nutritional supplements such as, Ensures and things like that. So we do assistive devices and home modifications. So assistive devices consist of wheelchairs, canes, lifts, bed railings, hospital beds, communication devices, food processors, and more. As far as home modifications, that would be your ramps, your stair lifts, your grab bars, traction strips, monitoring systems, accessible bathroom modifications, and other items. All right, and so this slide just basically lists different resources for caregivers. I'm not going to go over all those, but I will just touch base on some of them. So we do have a caregiver libraries with over 30 plus books at 7 of our local senior centers. We have 50 plus caregiver backpacks full of caregiver resources and information in county libraries. You can review the books, DVDs, movies, magazines, and brochures when it is convenient for you and in the privacy of your own home. We also have an annual caregiver resource guide that provides valuable information to your caregivers on our website. And then we also provide caregivers the opportunity to attend a yearly training and recognition event. And that leads me to the powerful tools for caregivers. So Allegheny County Department of Human Services Area Agency on Aging offers a 6-week training called Powerful Tools for Caregivers. So those topics include taking care of you, identifying and reducing personal stress, communicating feelings, needs and concerns, communicating in challenging situations, learning from our emotions, and mastering caregiving decisions. So the classes currently are virtually, due to the pandemic. We do encourage the participants to be present for all 6 sessions. So we do have the next class starting August 19th. So if this is something that you guys might be interested, please register by calling me at 412-350-5051 or emailing me at jacqueline.musgrove@alleghenycounty.us. Okay, and then this is just a chart that I just included in my slide. It is caregiving in 2020. This is AARP and NAC stats from caregiving in 2020. So the reason why I included this is I just wanted people to be able to look at how the numbers are going up, and just, just caregiving is just really out there, and we need the resources. And so I'm happy to, attend this just to get the word out. But if you could see, like, nearly 1 in 5 are providing unpaid care to an adult with health or functional needs. So it's just going up. And then if you can see the actual chart, you could look over that at your leisure. All right. And then I have Caregiver Humor. These are just a couple things I had found online, different jokes. I'll just read one. Me time. Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me. It's number 52 on my to-do list. I am a caregiver. So this is why. So I did this slide just to kind of touch base on what is the Area Agency on Aging. So it's part of a nationwide network of aging services agencies created by the Older Americans Act of 1965. The AAA serves older adults needing assistance, caregivers, families, social workers, agencies, grandparents, and healthy and active older adults who reside in Allegheny County. And for any of you guys that are outside of Allegheny County, you can still call our senior line, and we will be able to link you with your area agency on agency. So this is my last slide. Hopefully I wasn't going too fast for everybody. So this is just how to enroll, or just even if you have any questions. So to inquire further about the CSP program or any other services, or just questions in general, I ask you to please call the Allegheny County AAA Senior Line at 412-350-5460. Or you can even email us at seniorline@alleghenycounty.us. All right, and I will thank everyone for listening. And if people have questions, I'll wait for the end. So I'm going to hand it back over to you. I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will go ahead and bring the slides back up. And next, we will hear from Diana Hardy. So Diana, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you for the opportunity to meet with everyone today. My name is Diana Hardy, and as Heather introduced me, I am the Program Director of the Caregiver Solution Program at NAMS. Next slide, please. And I apologize. I am the white female speaking with short brown hair, glasses, and a blue top. A little bit of history about Northern Area Multi-Service Center. It is a community-based nonprofit that has been in service for over 50 years, serving the community. At NAMS, we have 4 senior centers. Our headquarters is located in Sharpsburg, and then we also have senior centers in Etna, Allison Park, and Tarentum. We have 3 Meals on Wheels kitchens. All of our senior centers, with the exception of Allison Park, do serve meals. And we have information and assistance. So we help seniors who need help with rent rebates, tax help, utility support, any problems that they may be experiencing, we will try to help them. We also have access transportation, and Landmark Home Health Care, and our Caregiver Support Program. Next slide, please. So our Caregiver Solutions Program is an evidence-based program to support caregivers and their care recipients who are 18 years of age or older. So anyone who is 18, a family member, friend, neighbor, supporting someone who is also 18 or older may enroll in this program. Through the generosity of AARP and United Way worldwide, we are able to offer this service for no fee. So that is, I think, fantastic. So no one has the barrier to not have the right insurance or not have the funds to enroll in this program if they wish. Service is provided by professional care consultants, and I'm really proud of our team. We have a holistic team of nursing, pharmacy, and mental health. So it's a nice, well-rounded team of expertise that we can sound things off of one another and really come up with some out-of-the-box solutions. When we talk with a caregiver, we are listening and formulating what their goals are and what the barriers may be to reaching those goals for them. What is frustrating them? What is getting in the way? And thinking of ways that we can come up with solutions to get around those barriers. We assess for different life stressors that are getting in the way, and I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. And then also connecting them to practical solutions. We come up with a tailored action plan for each individual case, and that action plan is actually a living document. So as we resolve things, items might come off of that action plan, and then caregiving, as we know, is an ongoing experience with changes all of the time. So we may also be adding to that list as different needs come up. And not only is it convenient for anyone to enroll because there's no fee for the service, we're able to offer this service by phone. So anyone can schedule an appointment and do not have to leave their home. So they don't have to worry about transportation. They don't have to worry about getting someone to sit with the care receiver if that's necessary. They can just do it at their convenience. And then we are there to stay in frequent contact. Frequency is up to the individual and how much support that they feel they need, and us, how many resources we're getting to them. And also they're able to contact us in the interim if anything comes up and they need some immediate assistance. We also provide educational materials to the caregivers and ongoing emotional support. Next slide, please. So we promote awareness of resources for both the caregiver and the care receiver. I just want to make that clear because the caregiver always puts themselves second. And so as Jacqueline was pointing out, so, some of the resources that we offer may be for the caregiver to make sure that they're taking care of themselves, and also information and resources for the care receiver so that they're both getting supported. And this can be at any level of care. And in a little bit, I will talk to you about how we've supported some different caregivers and show you the different levels of care. We will review with the caregiver all of the different assessments that might need to be addressed, such as activities of daily living. Does somebody need personal care, a caregiver to come into the home? Do they need somebody to help grocery shop, bill paying? How about a medical power of attorney or power of attorney or some other legal help? Are there mobility issues, arranging services, nutrition? They may need some mental health counseling. They may need to be looking for personal placement, anxiety, depression, and things like that. This is not a full list, but a short list of things that we can certainly address as we talk with the caregiver. And then we make referrals to the professional and community services. So we may be making referrals to physicians, counselors, different agencies, whatever the need may be, so that we can get some support around the caregiver and the care recipient. And we will, along the way, we may stumble across barriers such as maybe the caregiver doesn't have the funds for a particular resource or service. So we will look at ways to see how we can get around that, just different ways that we can be helpful. And then we're creating a support system. So caregivers should never go through this process, this journey alone. So we're there to walk this journey with them. We're also to come up with different resources so that they feel like they have a support system. We may help them identify some people in their community or their circle that they've never even thought of. But once we have that conversation, they're willing to ask them if they're willing to chip in for care. And we want to make sure that there's continuity of care for both the caregiver and the care receiver so that they are both having the best quality of life long-term. If you would like to enroll into the Caregiver Solutions program, you can do that by calling the number on the screen, 412-781-5002, or reaching out to Caregiver Solutions at namsc.com. And this is both for the informal caregiver, so the family member, the friend, the neighbor who might be providing care. And then also if there are any professionals on the phone, we have many social workers, mental health professionals, physicians, nurses that refer into the program as well. If anybody would like any further information, you're more than welcome to contact me, and I'd be happy to go into more detail about the program with you. Now the next slide, please. So I wanted to give you a few scenarios just so you can get a feel for how we've helped some people in the program. And these names are not the names of anyone that we served, and these are just generalities, nobody's particular story. So I just want you to realize I'm not breaching any confidentiality. So the story of Chandra is she was feeling very alone in her caregiving process. Chandra is an adult child caring for her senior mother, and her mother was pretty healthy, didn't have a lot of health issues, blood pressure, had to watch her diet. But more, Chandra was saying that her mother was starting to fail in keeping up her house, keeping up repairs. She wasn't paying her bills on time anymore and felt that her mother needed some additional support. As a financial professional herself, Sandra was very proactive in getting a budget together for her mother, getting her back on track with her bills. She hired individuals to come in and make the home repairs and had her mother staying with her while all of this was going on. What she was missing was having some support. There were a couple of aunts in the family that were supportive, if you will, but Chandra was finding them to be more critical than supportive and judgmental. She didn't have any siblings to go to, being an only child. So she reached out to Caregiver Solutions and just was thrilled that somebody was asking how she was doing and giving her suggestions of different resources that her mother can get engaged with and have a better quality of life. And then we have the story of Ruth, who was feeling very overwhelmed. Her husband was in and out of the hospital for quite some time. And the last hospitalization that he was discharged from when Ruth met us at Caregiver Solutions, her husband had to have physical therapy, occupational therapy, and nursing come into the home. This was really throwing Ruth off, having people coming and going, not being in control of her schedule, not feeling in control of her home. And she was just adjusting to all of this. Her husband was declining more, and the doctors suggested that he be placed on hospice. Well, this really made her freeze and feel overwhelmed that how was she going to do this? She didn't feel that she could do this on her own. So I talked with Ruth, found out what she was looking for in a hospice, what specialty she was looking for regarding the care for her husband. I identified hospices that could handle those requests. And then I put together for her a comprehensive chart of each agency, where they were rated, how they were rated, and where their specialties lie. And then she could make an educated decision. I sent her the information through email so that she was able to refer to it because she never knew how her days were going to go. So if it was late in the evening and she wanted to refer to that information, she was able to go to her email, read it, go back to it if she forgot something or wanted to look at it again. And then we have the story of Bernice. Bernice was not in the program very long, and that was very unexpected. So I met Bernice when I was doing a presentation in the community, and she came up to me and said, "What a great program. I may need you someday. You know, I'm caring for my husband. I don't think I need the resource right now," but she did take our information. Well, unfortunately, a few days later, her husband took an unexpected decline, and she was calling me way sooner than she thought. And she was calling me because she needed some hospice information. So I was able to get that for her. She shared it with her daughters. They were able to make a decision, placed her husband in hospice, and unfortunately, he died only a few days later. And so she was just so overwhelmed, but did reach out to let me know, which I thought was, very nice of her. And I stuck with her, checking in with her periodically, waiting until she was ready for bereavement support. And when she was ready, I sent her some referrals, made some connections for her. And over a year later, she reached out to me just recently and stated how well she's doing, how thankful she was for the program and the connections, and just wanted to let me know. And I should go back and tell you about Ruth too. I failed to mention that unfortunately Ruth's husband died on New Year's Day of the year that I was working with her. And she called me on January 2nd of that year to thank me, to let me know how much we did for her. And that just spoke volumes as to how helpful this program can be and how appreciative people are. May I have the next slide, please?
Diana, before I advance, we had a question in the Q&A. Can you let people know what areas the Caregiver Solutions program is offered to? Is it only Allegheny County, or is there a larger service area?
Thank you. Very good question. And thank you for bringing it up. I did fail to mention that. It is for the 11 southwestern Pennsylvania counties that the United Way 211 serves. So the southwestern market. And if anybody specifically wants to know all 11 of those, I can certainly email them to you if you reach out to me. And only the caregiver or the care recipient needs to live in one of those counties. So sometimes we have caregivers who are long distance. As long as the care receiver is living in this area, we can support them, or vice versa. If they're doing long distance caregiving and the caregiver's in Pittsburgh, we can certainly help them, even if the care receiver is somewhere else. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. I went ahead and advanced the slide, so you can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. So just an overview of the benefits of this program. Care consultants can do a lot of the legwork for the caregivers. As we know, they don't have very much time on their hands. So we will do research for them. We'll provide them with the information. And in some cases, with their permission, we can actually start the process for them. So for example, if we want to make a referral to the Area Agency on Aging for any one of those great caregiver support services or the Senior Companion Program or anything like that, we can start that application process for them. That's just one example of what we can do. We are not charging for this a service that anything that the care consultant does for you. Now, some of the referrals may have a copay or they may have a private pay fee, and that's between the caregiver and then the agency that they're dealing with. We will adjust the plan to the needs of the individual as frequently and as often as we need to, and for as long as we need to. And we may think, as care consultants, think of proactive ways that we can make suggestions to the caregiver and offer them different ideas that they may not have thought of on their own. A lot of times caregivers will call us and say that I need help with this or that. And then after we hear their story, we think of other ways that might be helpful to them as well. And they're not always aware. So it's good to have, to brainstorm together. We always lend an emotional ear, and sometimes that's all somebody needs. Sometimes they have everything in place, but they just need someone to listen. They need someone to vent to. They need somebody who's going to be non-judgmental, just listen and validate where they're at. And then we're there also to help not only plan for current needs, but any future needs. Next slide, please. I want to thank everyone very much for joining in today, for allowing me to share this program with you. And through the generosity of AARP, anybody that would like to reach out to me, either by phone or email that is on this slide, I am happy to send you an AARP Caregiver Toolkit. The toolkit has a lot of information for caregivers, and also it has a great way to be organized. It's a great organizer, a lot of information, a lot of resources. So I can offer that to you at no charge if you reach out to me, and please give me your name, address, and phone number. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Diana. And I will make sure that when I send out the slides, I do include all of your contact information.
Thank you very much.
So now we will be hearing from Stephanie and Agewell Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Oh.
No, perfect. That is perfect. Yeah. Go back one though. There we go.
Okay.
So I am Stephanie Small. I am a white woman with curly blonde hair and wearing a navy cardigan and burgundy top. And I'm here representing Jewish Family and Community Services, JFCS, but I'm really also here to represent Agewell Pittsburgh. So Agewell is a 17-year-old award-winning collaboration between the three agencies you see, JCC, JAA, and JFCS. We started this collaboration many years ago because we realized we were duplicating a lot of services, and we wanted to really streamline that and make it easier for people to reach the services they need without going through lots of rigmarole and getting around. We have one access number for everything. Now, despite the fact that all of our agencies start with the J and the Jewish, we are non-denominational. We serve everybody. So it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, or something else entirely. It does not matter. We serve everybody. So we've come together so we can offer many different services, all hitting different levels of caregiving, as well as all older adults as a whole. So the JCC serves a lot of social recreational times. Jewish Association on Aging has a lot of medical and home-based services in that way, and JFCS kind of hits a variety of those as well. Most of our funding comes from the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh and the United Way of Southwestern Pennsylvania. We work hand in hand with both of those agencies very closely. Next slide, please. So where do Caregiver Services of Agewell Pittsburgh starts? It starts at our Agewell Pittsburgh information and referral line. And our referral line, many of you have been on, if some of you have been around for longer than about 20 years, we actually previously were known as ElderLink. And so some people in this community have ElderLink magnets on their fridge. That's what, if you still have a magnetic fridge, that's where we started. So ElderLink became Agewell Pittsburgh INR. And we have a huge database with hundreds and hundreds of resources for anything that you might need as a professional, you might need as a caregiver, you might need as a community member, you might need. So give us a call. You can also reach us by our website, agewellpgh.org. And again, Heather will be sending these slides out so you'll have access to these numbers and this information. There's no wrong door. If you contact us and for some reason we can't meet your needs, which may be very possible, we will try to give you as many resources for what your need meets. And that's really what we're here for. We're a community resource, no matter who you are. Next slide, please. But what I'm going to talk about now for the next little bit are the various programs we offer specifically for caregivers. And we have others. We have met great many others. We're currently updating our website, so you can go to our website and see it, but hopefully it'll be a little cleaned up in the next few weeks. So one thing that we have is we do have our caregiver support group and individual counseling. And the caregiver support group, as Heather mentioned, I've been facilitating that for 20 years. I've actually been at JFCS 20 years this month, and caregivers really are my passion. Every time I think, oh, I'm going to give up my caregiver group, I've got other things to do, I can't do it. I can't do it. I love my caregivers, and I love being able to help shepherd them through all the different stages of it. And we are a non-disease specific group. So although we are affiliated with the Alzheimer's Association, anyone who needs to get support for caring for anyone, we're open to you, and it's totally free. Currently, we're meeting twice a month virtually. Eventually, when we're back in the office, we'll see how that goes, but we have been getting people regularly throughout the pandemic. But sometimes you might need a little bit more support than just a support group, and you might need some individual counseling. We have LCSWs who are also geriatric trained and really understand the needs of caregivers, whether it's the care recipient receiving services or the caregiver receiving services. We also have family consultation. Sometimes you're just stuck. You just don't know where to turn. You don't know where to start. You have a parent or a loved one, or maybe not such a loved one, and you know you have to care for them and you know you have to deal with them, but you don't know where to go. We can meet with you. One of our clinical social workers can sit down, meet with you, meet with your family, meet with the care recipient or not meet with the care recipient, and see where are we right now and what are we looking towards? What are we needing? What might we need? What are the different options? And sometimes you might need 1, 2, or 3 sessions like that. But a lot of times that first session really gets you going in finding out, okay, let's start here. And as we need more help, we'll figure it out from there. But you need a starting point. Family consultation is very helpful for that. Jacqueline mentioned personal emergency response system, that the caregiver program that they offer through the AAA can reimburse you for that. Well, we have a program with that. So it's nice to have someone who will actually pay for it. So through our Elder Alert, which is actually a local PERS system, through through Star Alert, they changed their name not that long ago, and it is one of the I've fallen and can't get up buttons. And a lot of people think they don't need that. I also have a lot of people say, well, I'm not a group person. And then they come to the caregiver group and like it, right? Everybody's like, I don't need that. But you might be thinking of it in the wrong way. A lot of people think that the care recipient needs to wear the button. But in reality, the caregiver should be wearing the button, because many times the care recipient may have dementia and can't really remember to press the button, nor can they necessarily reach the phone or know what to do or how to call 911 if the caregiver needs support. So really, it's key for the caregiver, the healthier person in that relationship, to wear the emergency button. A lot of people think it's vice versa, but it's really important to look at it in a lot of different perspectives. So we really recommend caregivers wear these more than they might think they need it. And a lot of them now don't just work in the home. They have GPS attached to them. So you can wear them walking in Shenley Park or Frick Park or Mellon Park or any other park near you. And you think, oh, I'm going to get some self-care in there, right? Self-care, caregivers need self-care. And then something happens. Well, now you have a button that can help follow you wherever you go. But maybe you need some help in the home. Maybe you can't do it on your own anymore. So we have our Caregiver Connection. Now, our Caregiver Connection is not an agency. It is a registry of private duty caregivers who are all independent contractors. And we're more of a matchmaker service between the caregiver and the loved one. The caregivers really like it. We've had people who have been on this caregiver registry, as we used to call it, for over 25 years. And they are people who are really well-versed in caregiving needs and become really a part of the family. The caregivers take home a larger portion of what would be ordinarily paid to an agency. And so they become a little more loyal to it. It's not just another job. They really do become family. We also have recently started, so I'm actually in vice versa order. We have the Virtual Senior Academy. Now, the Virtual Senior Academy actually started before COVID. We actually had virtual programming online before COVID existed, right? And so we were perfect. And the first time I ever used Zoom was doing a presentation for the Virtual Senior Academy. So I was already ahead of the game back in March. And so what this allows us to do is allow socialization for people who may not be able to get out. Maybe you can't get to the JCC for your exercise class. You can help take it through the Virtual Senior Academy. All totally free. all totally online. It allows caregivers to access socialization if they can't leave the home because they're caring for their loved one. It gives them an opportunity to meet with people in ways they couldn't necessarily in that moment, or maybe still can't. Things are opening up now. COVID-19 is not over, the pandemic is not over, but things are starting to return to some sort of normalcy. But doesn't mean everybody can. This is another opportunity for caregivers to get that social and emotional support without leaving their home. Now, one of the things we're offering on the Virtual Senior Academy is the Caregiving Aging Mastery Program. This is an evidence-based program through the National Council on Aging that builds on the original Aging Mastery Program, which was a 10-session learning experience about all the different ways to become, better agers. So we took that and really kind of tweaked it a bit to make it specifically for caregivers. We actually started the new session of these yesterday online, but because it is an open session, you can join any of these sessions going on at any point. So it's every Tuesday for the next, 2 months or something, something like that. I know I'm doing the last one at the end of July. I don't have to do all the ones in the middle, so I can't remember all the dates, but they are all Tuesday from 1 to 2:30. And if you're interested, go to virtualsenioracademy.org. They are wonderful. They really do give you a lot of knowledge, education, and support, which caregivers really need. Lastly, we do have the Anathan Club, currently on hold because of COVID-19, but the Anathan Club is one of the few remaining adult day programs that exist in Allegheny County. A lot of them have disappeared. And really, they are such a resource for people in that they give an opportunity for the care recipient to have activities outside of the home on a regular basis, which gives the caregiver much needed respite, knowing that their loved one is safe. So caregivers in the home are great, but sometimes caregivers in the home are not feasible, right? Maybe you have 5 dogs and 6 cats and you can't find a caregiver who are willing to come in. Anathan Club and adult day programs are really a really good opportunity for that. It's a really good resource. And so again, even though things are not quite up to where we'd like it to be post-pandemic, we do know that we'll be coming back soon. So those are the programs at Age Well Pittsburgh that just targeted for that, for caregivers. But we have many, many more. And I do recommend that you give us a call at the number, the 422-0400, check us out online and see what else we can have to offer you.
Thank you so much. This has been such a wealth of information about different resources for caregivers. I'm going to open it up now for open Q&A from everyone listening or watching. Are there any questions for any of our panelists?
Hi there, this is Heidi Donovan. I'm one of the co-directors of the National Center on Family Support. Nice to see you, Stephanie. And I so appreciate the time that each of you have taken today. I wanted to throw out one question and, sort of building on the amazing resources that we have available. And, some of you are providing direct services in some ways, others, serving as a referral and consultation service. I guess my question is we have a lot of movement around increasing long-term support services in the community. And as money maybe starts to get distributed or this momentum gains, what would you most wish for that could increase the kinds of services and supports for the people that you serve in the community?
A lot of people do want more care in the home, but they're not quite sure how to either access it or afford it. The AAA has amazing services available, but it doesn't actually fit everybody's needs. And some people would like to have people they can choose through a different resource. And yet, as many resources as we have, it's confusing. And so for people to be able to access in-home services just a little easier is really on a wish list many of us have.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, Stephanie, if we could throw some money at it, if it would solve the problem, to get more of the caregivers. I think they're underpaid, and we don't have enough to go around. There's a real shortage, and it's a huge problem, not just in Pittsburgh, but across the nation. It was a huge problem before the pandemic, and the pandemic has really taken its toll.
In those cases, you're talking about the paid caregivers.
The paid caregivers that come into the home
Yeah.
to provide, personal care, laundry, light meals, things like that.
We do have 2 questions in the Q&A. So first from Jessica, and she is asking, do any of your organizations have experience or resources for serving culturally deaf or deafblind seniors?
In our program, we don't provide the service, but if somebody needed that service, we could certainly research for them and try to make the connections for them.
Yes, and I'd piggyback off of that too. Same here. If you call the senior line, we'd be able to assist.
And then we have a question from Roberta asking, is the funding for services through the AAA through HCBS?
Okay, just so I clarify the question. So you're asking, is the funding for services through AAA through home and community-based services? We do have service coordination with home and community-based services. As far as CSP, we utilize funding, and then also the Pennsylvania Lottery for funding.
Thank you. I think that's all the questions that have come in so far, and we are just about at time. So that seems like a good place to end. Thank you so much to Jacqueline and Diana and Stephanie for joining us today. Thank you to sign language interpreting professionals for providing an interpreter for us today. And thank you all for being here with us. We will be emailing out the slides that were used today and a recording of this session in the next week or so. And we invite you to stay up to date with us at our website, www.caregiving.pitt.edu. And you can email us anytime at caregiving@pitt.edu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For being here. Take care.